everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the 50 Strong Meetup with our amazing partner, RTX. At 50 Strong, our mission is simple. We want to build a stronger workforce by connecting employers like RTX with military-friendly talent through efficient, scalable solutions that deliver real results. It was founded in 2020, and 50 Strong is a community-first organization serving employers, educational partners, and military and veteran-serving organizations. Today, we are here because of you, the veterans, the service members, and military spouses, and student veterans. We know how the transition into civilian careers can be challenging, and we recognize the dedication, resilience, and leadership that you all bring to the workforce. And that's why featured meetups like today are so important. They are creating a direct, welcoming pathway for you to learn from this employer, RTX, to explore their career opportunities and better understand how your experience may align with their hiring needs. Because when strong employers connect directly with strong military-ready talent like yourselves, the outcomes can be very meaningful. So thank you for your service, for your stories, and for trusting us to walk alongside you. We are especially grateful to RTX for being with us today and for their continued commitment to supporting the military-connected community. With a strong national presence and a wide range of career opportunities, RTX recognizes the value that veterans, military spouses, and military-affiliated talent bring to the workforce. Their team will share more about RTX in just a bit and their opportunities as well. But we are excited to welcome them and thank them for making today's event possible. Just a few quick housekeeping items before we get started. Please stay on mute unless you are speaking to help reduce background noise. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat at any time, and we'll cover them during the session or at the end. And if you run into any technical issues, please send a note to someone from the 50 Strong team, and we will be happy to help. Later on in the meetup, we will have the opportunity to speak with the RTX team. And then up next, I am very excited that we will talk about some of our upcoming events that we have just like this one that you will not want to miss. So you can find the full list of events using the link that's in the chat, or you can scan that QR code on your screen. Every one of our events are designed to introduce you to multiple employers, help you expand your network, and create meaningful connections that can open the door to new career opportunities. Here is what you can expect today. We are going to start off with a brief introduction about 50 Strong, followed by an overview of RTX, where they will explain their employment pathways and what you'll be learning from them today. And from there, you'll have the opportunity to have direct conversations with their team members, and then we'll close with final thoughts and next steps. The purpose of this session is to help you learn directly from RTX who they are, what roles they're hiring for, and most importantly, how to position yourself for success within their team. So we encourage you to ask questions and actively participate, especially when you have that opportunity to speak with them one-on-one. This is your opportunity to connect directly with these RTX team members in this smaller group setting. Please note that this meetup is intended for RTX and job seekers only. So to ensure that the job seekers that are here have as much time as possible to engage, please no outside B2B pitching. As we are going through this session, take some time, if you haven't already, to explore the opportunity marketplace. This is the best place to find roles that align with your skills, your experience, and your career goals. The 50 Strong Marketplace is more than just a job board. It's really designed to help you take a focused next step. You can filter by location, you can explore roles that match your background and your experience, and see opportunities from all of the 50 Strong employer partners that we have. It is built specifically to help you move quickly and confidently toward your next what's next. I also want to highlight one of my favorite things about 50 Strong, which is our 50 Strong Mentoring Hub. This is a virtual platform where transitioning service members, veterans, and military spouses can connect with mentors from our sponsor companies and also community mentors from the broader industry. So whether you're looking for transition advice or you're exploring a specific industry or company culture, maybe you're hoping to set up an informational interview, or you're looking for job search guidance, the Mentoring Hub is designed to help you make meaningful connections that will support your next step. All right. Well, now that you've had a little bit of time to learn about 50 Strong and how we can support you, we are so excited for you to hear from RTX. And so I'm going to give RTX team the floor. So over to you guys.
Thank you, Cassie. Appreciate it so much. Hey everybody, thank you so much for carving out time in your busy weeks to join us for this feature meetup. This has been a day that has just long been coming, and we've been excited. We have really been trying to figure out how we can best put together information that is going to make you confident but also dangerous in the workplace and in the marketplace of finding opportunities. And so I'm delighted to be able to share in this time with you. My name is Ricky Morrison. I believe we have a little bit of an intro that is set up, but ultimately I'll be the one that is driving the primary conversation of this presentation. But we are looking to engage with you. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Feel free to come off mute. This is a dialogue in ensuring that you get the most out of this time that we're here together today. And so with that said, I'll go ahead and get this presentation up and running, if that's okay. Or Cassie, was there something else we needed to touch on before you let me loose?
I'm letting you loose. Have at it.
Love it. All right. So let's go ahead, pause for a second, sharing. Good to go. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for the time. I'm going to go ahead and jump into really trying to make the most of the presentation by cruising through this presentation and getting you really the filet mignon of the inside of RTX, but also ensuring that we create as much time as humanly possible for questions. I am going to open it up really quick because I want our amazing team to be able just to give a quick introduction of who they are and who they represent, because we are coming through with a little bit of a unit, if you will, a squad of individuals that are ready to give you information. That way there is more color to the canvas in regards to RTX opportunities. And so I've already introduced myself. For anybody that's joined previous 50 strong meetings or meetups, military program manager out of Tucson, Arizona. So shout out to all my people in the 520, 19-year Air Force reservist. I am still serving. Proud to say that I'm able to work for a company that allows me to still fulfill my commitment to my country while also being in support of the war fighter. And so I'm stoked to be here with you representing Raytheon, and we will kick it over to my lead, Sophia Jones, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia Jones. I'm so proud to lead this great team of military and disabled talent attraction professionals. We look forward to talking with you today. We are also joined by some of our leaders in our businesses. As many of you may or may not know, RTX is part of a larger company, right? So we work out of corporate, and of course we fall with Raytheon, Collins, Pratt Whitney as businesses in RTX, and we're so proud to have many of them with us. Some of them are hiring leaders, and we get to engage with all of you, and you get to ask your great questions. So thank you very much, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Hey everybody, my name is Gary Halstead, 20-year Air Force veteran, and then about 5 years ago, I was on a call very similar to this, looking for an opportunity, and that's how I ended up with RTX through a 50-strong call. So you guys are all in the right place, coming here to network with company leads, getting your information out there, figuring out what the company's culture is, and how to best tailor your resume to match what that company is looking for. So look forward to working with everybody here, and I want to wish everybody happy Military Appreciation Month, and thank you all for your service as my brothers and sisters in the military.
Thank you, Gary.
Hey everyone, I'm John London, 20-year U.S. Army retired, 88 Mike. That was my last MOS, but I stayed here at Fort Polk, Louisiana, where I'm coming to you from. But I wanted to point out, as an 88 Mike, it doesn't necessarily mean what you did in the military is going to hold you back, and your qualifications can take you a long way. So thank you so much to all the fellow veterans. God bless you guys for your service. I'm really excited to connect with everyone here today.
Thanks, John. We got Taj.
Hey, afternoon, everybody. Taj Martin, based in North Carolina. I support our power and controls and advanced structures business, son and son-in-law of U.S. Army vets.
Hi, everyone. Carrie Thibodeau. I'm a principal talent recruiter. I support system engineering and test capabilities, Northeast and Huntsville, more specifically with ground surface radars and sensors. I work hand in hand with the military team to help support and push out programs across engineering.
Thank you, Gary. And then I don't know, I think I saw Lori joined. If not, oh yeah, there she is.
I
Hi, Lori.
sure am. Hi there. So, hello, I am with Raytheon. I'm based in Tucson, Arizona, and I wear two hats. I am a hiring manager because I'm a section manager with the manufacturing design and systems engineer. So, we work on new products, but I am also part of the failings program. I support our carriers and the weapon systems that we put on them. And I am happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Mr. Hanson.
Hey everyone, so my name is Jacob Hansen. In case you can't tell, that's not a recent picture of me. That's from when I was in the Army. I did 4 years active duty. After I got out of the Army, I started going to U of A, got my degree in engineering, and have been working at Raytheon ever since. I've been with Raytheon for 18 years now. I've been doing systems integration and tests the entire time. I'm also a section lead and senior manager.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jacob. And I don't believe Jamie has snuck in just yet. If she is, feel free to come off mute, man. But if not, who are these people? I know normally during our 50 strong presentations, it's usually the top row of individuals you see, but we decided that we wanted to come through with what I have coined them as really the gatekeepers. What we have found trending in a lot of these meetups is there are questions that you have in regards to, here's my experience, what would I be a good fit for? I applied to this, what's going on with my application? So we're like, you know what, we're gonna come through with a plethora of gatekeepers really who can give you answers to the questions that you guys are gonna have during the presentation today. So buckle up, it's gonna be a fun one. Now, in regards to the overall presentation, before I jump into these numbers, I have asked for permission from all my leads and everybody, letting them know that I'm really going to kind of come off the rails during this presentation and giving you guys insight that I do not think you are being given in regards to the job hunting process. As I've shared before, still on Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, going to transitioning assistance program presentations, I'm getting the layout of everything that they're sharing, and it is all insightful, but it's important that you understand that there's a different way things are working on the out. So please bear with me, knowing that the information that I'm going to give to you guys today is raw, it's uncut, but I think it's going to be most beneficial for you, and I hope you can appreciate it. So if you are getting to know RTX for the very first time right here, here's what you need to know by the numbers. We are over 185,000 employees and growing, given all the need for the things that we're doing within the global environment. Our net sales as of last year, 88.6 billion with a B, which means you're dealing with an employer, a company that is all about sales and is making it happen. And then I always like highlighting the company and customer funded research and development. Here's the thing, Raytheon RTX is known as a pioneer, the tip of the spear of aerospace and defense. And when it comes to having that title, you have to be on the cutting edge of innovation, research and development, and the likes. And so knowing that we are a company that funds it in that manner, you know that you're working with an employer that supports that and wants to drive and capitalize really on your innovation, your creativity, and the likes. Now, when it comes to delivering industry-leading solutions, we have 3 different business units. Now, here's the funny thing. When you ask people, do you know who RTX is or what RTX is? Usually it's going to come up with, no, I haven't really heard of them before. But then if you mention something like Collins, Pratt Whitney, or Raytheon, then it makes sense. So simply put, the umbrella company RTX Raytheon Technologies has 3 different business units underneath, which is Collins, Pratt Whitney, and Raytheon. If you're not familiar with what they do, I'll give you a real quick summary, all right? So first off, Collins Aerospace specializes in systems and components for aircraft. Now, I'm not gonna ask you guys to raise your hand because it would be weird, but who has you have keep this in mind. Seating systems, lighting solutions, essentially things that enhance passenger comfort, or if you've ever enjoyed in-flight entertainment or Wi-Fi connectivity during a flight, there is a good chance that Collins Aerospace provided the technology behind it. And also when it comes to military aircraft, spacesuits, airport self-service kiosks, business jets, etc., that's where they're playing. Now, when we switch over to Pratt Whitney, their focus is going to be on development and production of aircraft engines. To those who have recently flown, there's a good chance that the aircraft was powered by a Pratt Whitney engine. And moreover, some of the most advanced fighter jets, including the F-35 Lightning and the F-135 engine or the F-22 Raptor, those engines, that's Pratt Whitney, okay? And then finally with Raytheon, with the concentration on defense systems, missile technology, and cybersecurity. When it comes to mind, what I mentioned with Raytheon, again, is it just missiles? Is it just military defense? there's a part of it, but that's not everything. Raytheon technologies are enhancing the safety and efficiency of air travel, satellite systems, really tip of the spear cybersecurity. So a whole lot of information. That's who we are. These are some of the key capabilities. But I always like highlighting that there's a very strong likelihood that with any aircraft you've been on, or in this case, every second an aircraft carrying some type of RTX technology is taking flight. And 66% of the world's airspace is managed by our systems. So no big deal, just a little bit of a flex there, okay? Now, getting started. With this page, this is what we call our military veterans landing page. This, for anybody that has served, is still serving, looking to leverage their military experience, RTX has a page that is specifically for you that is going to provide you with all of the resources, tips, tricks, whatever it is that you're needing right on this page. The link is right there at the bottom, so make sure that you guys are taking notes. I beg of you, because I'm more than likely going to be hitting on something that you're going to ask about. But that link will give you all the information and resources that we have created to specifically help you in your employment navigation process. When it comes to SkillBridge, yes, we are doing those. There's interest forms, and the opportunities link is right there as well. And then when it comes to any type of internship opportunities, or really just overall questions about the veteran process, there it is, listed right there on that page. And don't forget to leverage that military skills translator. Here in a second, I'm going to get on a soapbox when it comes to being able to translate our military skills, so that way our civilian counterparts are able to understand that. So just be mindful that is something for you to be able to leverage. Okay, now, what we're going to be going over really quickly, you guys are going to find that this is a trending, I guess, format of information that we provide during all of the 50 strong meetups. And that's because these are still becoming issues for those that are applying to Raytheon or RTX positions. And we know this because typically after our meetups, we're getting these same exact questions. So what we want to do, as I mentioned in the beginning, is we want to make you dangerous. We want to ensure that you are developing a strategy when you're going about the application and job hunting process. I made the joke earlier to John a second ago, the days of, back when I used to step into a place of employment, ask for a paper application and know that I was going to get some type of feedback, those days are long gone. And if you do not have a strategy, you're going to kind of be left there twiddling your thumbs, ultimately getting agitated that you're not getting any type of feedback. So what I have here at the top of this slide, we're going to talk about a common career or job opportunity that military service members go after, and that's a military program manager. Timing of the application. First thing is making sure that you apply within 1 to 2 weeks of posting. I would ask, not that you have to raise your hand, how many of you actually checked the date that a requisition was posted? If I had to guess, I'd probably say hopefully at least 50%. But if that is not a part, okay, Antonio, thank you for raising your hand. I'm glad you're doing it. But for those that are not, this is critical. And here's why. Whenever a requisition goes live on our careers page, typically within a couple of hours, there is anywhere from a couple of dozen to potentially 100 different applicants that are already applied to that position. And so if you're not paying attention to when the rec was posted, you could ultimately be applying to a job where in theory, they might already have their person pinged that they're going to be extending an offer to. Meanwhile, you're sitting there waiting for that callback. So this is why it's very important. And we wanted to highlight that. Early applicants are going to receive the higher recruiter visibility. Simply put, if you're first in on the requisition, you're going to get first looks. That's the way that breaks down. Now, when it comes to the job description, you're going to find that within all RTX requisitions, they have to follow a standardized template. They're all going to pretty much look exactly the same, with a few differences, primarily within the qualifications that they prefer, that are must-haves, and then the job description itself. You need to make sure that when you're looking at that job description, that it's aligning with your interests, but also your qualifications, which brings us to those must-haves. I cannot stress this enough. And again, I'm saying this lovingly. I'm going to be saying a lot of things from the heart here. There is no such thing as a qualification that you must have, but because you don't have it, but I served, I'm in the military, they're going to give me a shot. It's not going to happen. You have to have 100% of those qualifications in your resume. And that last part is the key part. It has to be laid out in a way where our talent acquisition team is able to register those qualifications, and they're able to be able to check the box and go, yep, all right, this individual is good to go. We have TA specialists that are going to be able to speak to this process a little bit later, but there is no gray room in that. It has to be, you have to use their qualifications and you have to integrate that within your resume. And that's where military skills translating tools are going to assist you, because I can share with you, again, having worked with transitioning service members, I understand our military terminology isn't always going to line up with what the civilian counterparts are going to understand. But understand this, they, in some cases, do not have the bandwidth to be able to go and Google search and break down and figure out what is it that this military service member meant. They're just going to move on to another candidate. So do yourself a solid and make sure you're using their terminology and leveraging it within your experience. Now, when it comes to qualifications you must have, the gatekeepers of that is RTA. So just keep that in mind. When you apply, you have to make sure that you're speaking to talent acquisition. Now, it's those qualifications that we prefer, where I like to coin, you're earning a little bit of juice with the hiring manager. They're going to be able to look at your resume and understand this individual is not only qualified, but they are also possibly doing some of the things that we're already doing on the shop floor, or they're well qualified. And that's how you earn that little bit of additional credibility or juice, hopefully getting you to the interview stage. This is gold right here, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot stress this enough. For all of you that are sitting here right now with applications that are sitting and you're wondering, when am I going to get a call back? Why aren't I getting a call back? I've submitted 32 applications. I would challenge you, are you adhering to some of these tips that are laid out right on this slide? Components of a resume, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I just ultimately like to share two things. One, that my lead, Sophia Jones, had stressed to anybody that has a resume that's over 3 to 4 pages long. If you're dropping 10 pages, bless your heart, don't do that. That's not what you should be doing. You should be able to dial it down to about 2 pages, getting to the filet mignon of your experience, to the qualifications of the requisition. And also, if you've heard a rumor, hey, Raytheon or Raytheon Technologies like their resumes in a certain format, there's really no truth to that. I believe that there is a certain strategy that you can use in order to ensure those qualifications are picked up sooner. But if anybody's telling you there's a certain way of going about it, I'm laying it out for you right here, right now, okay? That's essentially it. Components were good, fantastic. All right, well, so now we'll continue on tailoring your resume. I'm kind of an individual, I'm a visual learner. I want to make sure that we're able to show those examples, and this is a great example of how you can ensure those qualification must-haves and preferred are literally right where they need to be. Now, I would ask a question here real quick because I want to take a breather. I want everybody to put in the chat real quick, what do you think, or how long do you think the average recruiter is going to spend reviewing your resume in the form of time? So how long do you think TA spends reviewing any given resume on an application? Drop it in the chat. I got to see at least one answer before I move forward. Gary, we seeing guesses come in? You're muted, sir.
Yeah, answers all over the place. 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 3 minutes.
Love it. All right. Whoever said that 10-second, you were close. I looked this up prior to the presentation, and they're spending anywhere from 6 to 7 seconds per application reviewing your resume. Now, this is probably going to blow your mind a little bit. You're like, wait a second, I spend hours on this document. Why aren't I getting that type of attention when it comes to reviewing qualifications? If you weren't aware, talent acquisition, think for a second you have one recruiter and they have anywhere from 20 to 50 requisitions. And within each requisition, there's over 100 candidates. Simply put, they just do not have that kind of time to dedicate to reviewing every single word in your resume. So your job as the candidate is to ensure that those qualifications are picked up as quickly as possible. And this right here gives a great example of how that works out.
And also, team, I just want to let everybody know the easier it is for us to find those keywords, make sure you bulletize them, right? We get lost with paragraph style resumes. So it's so important to provide your critical skills. And I can't stress this enough, especially with our friends at Raytheon. If you have a clearance, put it where your name is, put it on the top of your resume. Make sure that that's at the very top, because that's such a valuable asset for us right away. So just FYI.
What I like to say to that point, Sophia, is that think of it kind of like I don't know if we have any gamers in the chat here or in the room, but For every qualification that you allow that TA rep to see, you're buying yourself additional seconds in the reviewing process. So the sooner you can get it seen, whether it be at the top, right there in the skills, whatever it may be, that's what's going to help buy you more time in the reviewing and hopefully getting you to the hiring manager review.
Hey, Ricky, can you just foot stomp on the basic and the preferred qualifications? And if anything from the basic is missing, it absolutely is not going to go through.
1000%. So as I mentioned before, when you're looking at these qualifications, actually, you know what? Let me jump to that example because Stacy, our lovely Raytheon program manager, gave us a great example of this. So sticking with the military program manager example, you have, for example, these must-haves or the preferred qualifications, and all of them are listed right here. Now, what she decided to do was we took Staff Sergeant John Doe over here and we took his resume, and looking at this, we see, yes, we are dealing with a military professional. This is fantastic. But what this military professional did not do is address any one of the qualifications that were listed on the requisition. But he thinks because he's patriotic, he's a military service member, he's probably going to get the ability to move forward. It doesn't work that way. I cannot stress this enough. So now seeing how it's not to be done, we show you how it should be done. You have the qualifications, must-haves, and preferred, and all of them were listed right here in a nice little format where Stacy wanted me to kind of foot stomp on this. It is imperative that when you're talking about your military experience, you don't throw every single role that you've done on the resume and then cross your fingers. What you should be doing is if you're dealing with a material program manager requisition, you should really only be speaking to your military experience that addresses that specific role. We don't need to know that you were an honor guard, which shout out to anybody that's done that. That's fantastic, but that's only taking up critical space in the reviewing process, and it is not relevant. So please make sure, based off of this example, you're providing those must-haves and those preferred, and this is a great example of how to make that happen. Gary, was that to the T what you're looking for?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Now, positioning yourself for RTX careers and success. As we've already mentioned time and time again, don't overload your resume with military jargon. There are fantastic tools, or I guess basically the only key tool you need now is really AI. Start leveraging those tools in order to be able to break down that military terminology so our civilian counterparts are going to be able to understand that, and that's where it's your job to translate it. Like I said, I'd love for every single TA rep to have that database of military AFSCs, MOSs, and all the certifications, but they simply don't. And again, it's on you to make sure that they understand your experience. Making sure that you don't use generic responsibility-based bullets, show measurable results. Everybody should know that's, worn the military or worn the uniform. When it comes to EPRs, OPRs, EPBs, whatever it may be, those annual reports, we like numbers. If you can speak to numbers, or if you save on a percentage, or if you cut man hours this many, however, throwing those metrics in there, those measurable results, that's going to help drive you a little bit further in the reviewing process. Oh yes, don't use the same resume for every application. For anybody that has a current Raytheon, or rather a Workday profile, and you've applied to positions before, how many of you know that we in TA can see how many positions you've applied to? Which that may not be new news to all you, right? But here's the thing. When we see that you've applied to 32 positions and that same resume is being used in every single requisition, that 6 to 10 second review TA is going to give you, you probably have reduced yourself down to a few seconds now, because then they start assessing and asking, is this individual really serious about this one particular role? Or are we doing like I do in the kitchen on spaghetti night, taking stick? That's not the strategy. That's not the way to go about this. So you want to make sure you're tailoring your resume to each job posting. And here in a second, I'm going to show you a little tip on why having those tailored resumes actually puts you in a great position to get yourself on the top of the requisition candidate listing. Don't use cluttered formatting. I think we've hit on that. Don't apply late to competitive openings. Competitive openings, I think one of the greatest examples right now is remote roles, right? Everybody would, or a good chunk of us, I would imagine, would want to work from a remote position. Whereas I know I said earlier, hey, if you're not applying within the first 1 to 2 weeks, you probably should stay away from it. with remote roles and they're competitive, you probably got about 1 to 5 hours before that requisition just blows up with candidates. So just keep that in mind. Don't omit key details like clearance, certifications. I'm pretty sure that's a given. You guys know your clearance is valuable. The certifications that the military is providing to you is going to be invaluable. And we want to make sure that you're listing that. That way we can go ahead and leverage that. And then don't use inactive email addresses or unanswered phone numbers. Can't tell you how many times we call. Sometimes you'll get a TA rep who is like, you know what, maybe I am going to ask a question. They'll give a quick phone call and then they find out the number's disconnected, and then that ends the opportunity right now. You have a lot to offer, and more specifically, we want to highlight that we have a lot to offer you in return. I like highlighting this slide because for those that are about to transition out of military service, or for those that, basically got, their way of life with what the military offered met their quality and their needs. That's exactly what we're coming with when it comes to competitive salary, when it comes to our benefits, 401k opportunities, PTO. All of this is what you can anticipate with our company. So there is no need to worry about if you're going to be taking a cut, so to speak. We're looking to deliver to the same level that you are receiving now. All right. Now, before we jump into this, and this is where I'm also going to open it up to the entire team, primarily our hiring managers and our TA folk. I'm gonna go ahead and tee you up here. You got about 3 minutes, because I'd love for you to be able to speak to what opportunities or kind of what the big need is specifically for your area. For those that are attending, we also wanted to make sure that we came with opportunities that could be spoken to on the here and now. That way, if it does kind of perk your ear up that I'm in that location, that is something that I'm interested in, we'd be able to get information and insight right here on the spot. So give me a second real quick, because I want to share one thing. And if anybody has anything to add while I'm pulling this up, feel free to jump in.
Hi, Ricky. This is Taylor. I'm from Pratt and Whitney. And so I jumped in here last minute and the team was able to afford me the opportunity to talk to you all. But I just want to add that you can use AI to your advantage too with your resume right now. So, throw that job description in AI, throw your resume, in AI, the bullet points, and say, call out, you can literally just type in, call out the things in my resume that you think match with this job description. You're going to have to massage it. You'll have to talk back and forth with AI and, make sure you do a double check on it, and you don't want it to be a copy and paste, but use that to your advantage too. The industry is doing it. So why aren't you?
Love that call out. Okay. I would ask you if any of you are familiar with this little guy right over here. And I want your eyes to get burned on it for a second. This little icon is going to help propel you above the standard individual who applies to any of the requisitions within Raytheon. Now, let me provide some context here. All these requisitions you're seeing on our careers page have essentially come at the command of a hiring manager and TA coming to the agreement on a job description, on the requirements, the details, whatever it may be. And then as soon as TA decides to post that job, it's going to land right here on this careers page. Now, here's where this comes into play. For anybody that's never leveraged it before, I'm going to give you a real life example. You can ask it to provide me with notifications when new cybersecurity requisitions open up. Real-time stuff right here. I felt like this was something that was worth the 45 seconds. All right, so it talks about which job categories are you interested in. Just for the sake, I'm going to say digital technology and communication. Give it some time to think. And then it's what I can say, all right, well, where do you want to work? Well, I'm biased. I like getting burnt in Tucson, Arizona. So let's go ahead and pick that. But then, I don't know, maybe I want to freeze over in Andover during wintertime. And then the last thing it should ask, how often do you want to receive your job alerts? I want them daily. I want to be ahead of every single individual that applies to these requisitions. And I want to make sure my resume is getting reviewed. What's the best email address? Boom, pop in your email address. And then what happens is as those requisitions that are being released from our TA team go live right here on the site, you are then going to get a notification to where now you are being prompted, tee up that tailored resume to that role that you're interested in, and now you can apply, hopefully be one of the first 5 to apply to it. And for those that are not getting callbacks, hopefully this should change that. Remember, the more competitive the role, the quicker people are going to apply to it. But if you are not putting that AI, that chat bot in your back pocket when it comes to applying to requisitions, you're doing yourself a great disservice. With that said, that was the gist of the presentation. Now, before we open to questions, if this is okay, I want to be able to put out, from Taj, from Carrie, basically let us know what you have available or what's trending within your spaces, business units, or locations. And then, Gary, if you have anything, we can also incorporate that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just wanted to hit really quick. So in my career, I was an AWACS person. So I was limited to 3 bases in the United States. I could go to Oklahoma City, I could go to Elmendorf, not in the United States, in the world, and I could go to Kadena. I couldn't go to Eglin Air Force Base. I couldn't go to Fort Polk because they didn't need my skills there. It's very similar in the commercial world and the civilian world. So if you've got Patriot skills, we need you at the places at Raytheon that have Patriot skills and things like that. If you were a helicopter person, then we're going to put you at a Collins or a Pratt site that, has future vertical lift or vertical lift programs. If you were a TF-33 program manager, then we're going to put you at, Pratt and Whitney. And I just put a buddy of mine at Pratt and Whitney, so that's why I say that. But the skills that you have or the qualifications that you have needs to drive where you want to be applying. And sometimes it's not going to be in the location that you're at right now. Sometimes you might be in Tampa, Florida, but you want to be an engineer on the Patriot systems. You're probably going to have to go to Tucson, or you're going to have to go somewhere else. And that's where we talk about relocation benefits and things like that. But what I would tell everybody that is looking to break into this world is to be flexible. Just like you've been flexible in the military career, the government's not going to tell you where to go, but we're going to encourage you to open up your scope to find out where you're going to have the best opportunity to grow your career. And with that, let's go ahead and start off. We can start off with Taylor, with Pratt and Whitney, talk about the locations that they're seriously looking for. Then we can go to Jamie Hall, and then let's go to Raytheon, and then Taj at Collins.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So great to talk to you all today. So for those of you who may not be familiar, our primary locations are in Connecticut. That's where we're headquartered. We have major locations in Columbus, Georgia, North Berwick, Maine, Oklahoma City, and West Palm Beach, Florida. So those are not all of our locations, but those are some of our main ones. So lots of openings across all functions, but some key positions that may work well for like a military background, I'll just call out here. So our field service reps, they typically work on the F-135 program. Those may be like customer facing roles. So you're going to find those at our bases or naval air stations like Lemoore or like OKC, which Gary mentioned. We also look for engine technicians in that space, and those technicians do hands-on maintenance at installations like Pax River, Maryland. And then leading into that, just a large group of airframe and power plant mechanic roles, mainly that power plant piece. So those can be in several locations. Some of the primary locations where we have them now are, is my tech okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. Some of the primary locations where we have those are Columbus, Georgia, Bridgeport, West Virginia, and West Palm Beach, Florida. Those mechanics, so you're going to see those as like assembly technician or mechanic positions. Those assemble, repair, inspect, and test engine components and subassemblies using technical drawings and specialized equipment to ensure those parts meet specifications and support our customers and new engine programs. So that's just a little bit about, highlights of key roles. Other areas that I'll quickly touch on are engineering as a whole. So bread and butter of a lot of our business is engineering. So any kind of engineering skills and program management. We've got openings in risk management, systems engineering, business management, data analysis. A lot of that stuff is going to be in our Connecticut location. So, if you're an engineer, that's where you'd want to look, or if you're interested in program management, Connecticut would be a good place to start. I think that's just looking at my notes here, I think that's pretty much, a good overview of our openings. Again, that doesn't cover everything, but it covers a lot of the key roles that you might want to consider. Definitely encourage you though, play around with those filters that Ricky was showing because Pratt and Whitney's got a lot to offer. That was just the highlights.
Hey, and Taylor, really quick, I just wanted to highlight, if anybody's interested in the Columbus location in Georgia, we have lots of needs there. It's listed on our website as Midland, Georgia. So those two are interchangeable. That was just a change that we had out there.
Good call out. Good call out.
All right, Jacob. I believe Jacob was next, or did we have one more?
Let's go with Jamie Hall over at RTX.
Sorry, yes. Jamie, I didn't see you were here.
I'm here. I was a late bloomer today. I apologize. I was caught up on other meetings, but really happy to be here. So I am Jamie Hall. I represent our corporate talent acquisition department. So we kind of run the gamut. So we work with all of the different business units across RTX. And I will tell you that right now, Raytheon has a huge desire for talent right now, but RTX talent, corporate is also really booming. So we're working across Pratt and Whitney, Raytheon, and Collins to develop talent in engineering, comms, strategic development, and basically every possible position you could think of, including admin, which is something that I'm working on right now. I would say that within corporate, the biggest need right now is going to be within our operations and supply chain team. So if you have supply chain, sourcing, any kind of ops, also our RT flight department, we have positions available for crew chiefs and pilots. There's a lot of really exciting opportunities within corporate. So I would say if you're interested in anything broad, definitely reach out to me. I'd be happy to look at your resume and give you any guidance that you would be looking for as far as where you should be looking within corporate.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right. So I'm Jacob Hansen. I'm here in Tucson, Raytheon. Mostly what we do here in Tucson is we build a lot of the products that you guys have used, right? So we build the weapon systems that are being used daily in Iran right now. So obviously we have a lot of needs right now. We have a lot of openings. I'm looking at the website here, and I see 700 needs in Tucson alone. Most of those are engineering. So if you have a STEM engineering degree and military experience, that would be amazing. We're always looking for people who have STEM degrees and military experience because they just complement each other so well. One thing to look out for on the jobs website, right? A lot of the job openings are a little generic, right? It may not say like a Patriot engineer, right? So you got to really read into the details and see kind of what like Ricky was saying, read the needs and so also you'll see engineering services. So those typically require a degree, but they're often non-STEM degrees. So don't let that kind of turn you off from applying to it. So, but yeah, a lot of needs here in Tucson.
Hey, Jacob, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, so I'm going to apologize first. But, I had the opportunity to go out and do a site tour at Tucson. And what I really took away from, and I get this at Collins, I get this at Pratt, every single place I go, it's not just a job. Our engineers, our technicians, our support staff, everybody that works at RTX, what we do is very, very important. And, we see the picture of you in your Army ACUs back in the day or camos back in the day. I forget what Army called it. But we all served, and the people on this call served or know people that served in harm's way. And I know I was deployed to Al Dhafra, where the Patriot missile battery was protecting us. Back in 2017, it wasn't that big of an issue, but it is a big issue. And so everybody that's on this call and everybody that works for this company takes pride in their work, and we have a lot of pride in the products that we provide to protect our war fighters that are downrange. And so I thought that's really cool. And so if you're interested whatsoever in Tucson, there are opportunities out there, and we have a huge ramp. We sent a lot of packages downrange, and we got to rebuild them, and we need some awesome people to do that. So definitely look at Tucson if you are interested in kind of staying in that realm of being a technician, being an engineer, and designing and maintaining the future of our defensive capabilities.
100%. And the warfighter, you said that's thing that we keep at the forefront of our minds here. It's not just something we say. We really take it very seriously, not just protecting our warfighters, but protecting the home front as well.
Yep. And then, at the Collins Aerospace side, I'm going to turn it over to Taj now. But Collins Aerospace, I just got a tour of our facility in Colorado Springs, our ejection seat business. Well, guess what? Ejection seat saved our pilots in the friendly fire incident in Kuwait. All three of those pilots safely got down to the ground, safely got back to their base, and safely got back to their family because of the ACES 5, the ACES 6 ejection seats. So again, everybody that was there took great pride. Hopefully they never have to use it, but unfortunately we have to use it every once in a while, and it worked exactly like it was designed. And again, it's because the employees have pride in the work that they do, knowing that one day is probably going to save somebody's life. And with that, I'll turn that over to my man, Taj.
All right. Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Taj Martin, talent acquisition recruiter, supporting our power and controls business, which is based in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, but also our advanced structures business, which is based in Charlotte. Biggest need for me right now is going to be a non-destructive technician at our site in Riverside. So I think there's is it an Air Force Reserve base that's close by, Gary? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that's correct.
Really so.
So anybody with an NDI or NDE background, you're terribly needed there. As far as everything else that I have is going to be technician wise at our Phoenix site. I think Luke Air Force Base is there. We've got some active skill bridge fellows there that we're getting ready to convert over to full-time employees. So if you're looking to use your current skill set you have right now to kind of just see where it goes in the civilian realm, reach out to me. I'd love to schedule some time with you, talk, and see what your next step can be.
Awesome. And on that, I'll talk a little bit more about Collins Aerospace, on the other recs that are out there. That's where I got my start when I transitioned out of the Air Force. And what I learned was, the systems that I worked on were Rockwell Collins radios and things like that. So I knew those products, but there's probably nothing that you've flown on, whether that be an Airbus or a Boeing. You're probably sitting in our seats. You're probably touching the lavatory. You're probably getting coffee out of our stuff. So our interiors business, the power and controls like Taj was talking about, the thrust reversers on the engine. Basically, the aircraft says, Boeing or Airbus, but the products and the subsystems, we are the primary OEM manufacturer for most commercial airplanes. FlightAware, the app that you use to track your mom and dad coming to the airport or you getting there, that is a Collins Aerospace and RTX product. So there's really nothing in aerospace that Collins Aerospace doesn't touch. And so it doesn't matter what your job was, whether you're a pilot, a maintainer, a technician, logistics, supply chain, there's going to be a job for you if you are in the right locations and skill sets at Collins or at one of the other RTX business units. With that, Taylor, do you want to talk? Oh, you already talked about your specific ones. Let's go over to Raytheon.
We got Miss Lori Cruz is ready to go.
Awesome.
I am. So, like they've said, we work in Tucson on a lot of legacy programs. I personally am involved with developmental programs because it's not just trying to fill what we've already been using in the different areas we've been around the world, but it's also trying to get ahead of what other governments are doing. So we work development. I have people that are in Tucson, McKinney, and in Andover. I work very closely with the manufacturing facility. So if I see a resume come to me that maybe doesn't fit with development, but maybe somebody would be better working in manufacturing on the legacy programs, we can work with that. We also have digital manufacturing and also test engineering. So if you have an engineering degree, we're looking for you. We could use that help right now. I will be hiring about 23 people in the next 6 months. That is just crazy just for one organization. Also, like I said, I work with the Failings program. And so we've been around for a long time. We are not going anywhere. We are finding that we are needed a lot. So we are also looking for any CWIS, RAM, CRAM, CRDC people, technicians, anyone who can get in there quickly, turn a wrench, support. We support our fleet in real time. We are going out and we are actually on those carriers helping. So we're in a lot of places and we could use some help. I will go back to the conversation on security clearances. I agree. That's the first thing I look at. You have a clearance, you are getting my attention. So if you have one, put it down there. If you've had one, put it down there too, because you probably can get cleared a lot faster than someone who's never been through the process. So very big deal.
Lori, I love that call out. I didn't even think about knowing the benefit of listing if you had one, because most would either say, I have it, I don't. But if you've had one, it could still serve you. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I think we hit the team, unless there was anybody else that needed to chime
Ricky,
into.
let's pull on that thread a little bit, and I'll probably tap in Carrie and Lori on this. So you're going to see recs that are posted out there that require security clearances. If it says it is needed on day one, or you must actively have. So if it says you must actively have it, that means you need it right now. If it says you must be able to obtain it, that means you can come in, get hired, we start the process, and then we can bring you on. But if you have that active TS clearance, especially if you have that poly, please look at our opportunities. We have an opportunity for you. Might not be in your number one primary location you want to be, but if you've got that poly and that active TS, there is an opportunity for you somewhere within our business. I guarantee you that.
Right. And could I just say also secret, right? It doesn't have to be top secret. Secret is used, primarily in Tucson. So if you have that, and I don't usually say it has to be on day one, I say you have to be able to get it. You really need an interim before you can walk onto our facility, but it's a huge game changer.
Again, buying time for additional reviewing by our TA team, which ultimately they gatekeep to get to the hiring manager. So critical. I'm glad you guys shared that.
Ricky, Cassie, how are we doing on time hash?
It's a good question. We're just having so much fun. We wrap at, is it 12:40, 12:30?
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time for question and answers for everybody.
Yes. Really quick, just because I have some last minute alibis, I'm going to try to make this super fast. So jot these down. First off, LinkedIn. If you're looking at jobs and you're applying straight from LinkedIn, not saying that's bad, but more than likely you're probably going to be late to the party, because before a communication is created and posted on LinkedIn in most cases, it might have to get vetted through our comms team, which means we're talking anywhere from a day or two of needing to be approved before it's posted. So I would highly stress rtx.com, our careers page. Stay finding roles there. Also, I was told by our fantastic Stacy Garnett, LinkedIn, that is primarily meant for networking. That is meant for building up your network and being able to make those connections, not for specifically just for the job searching piece. Also, application status updates. We find there are trending topics, and here's two of them. One is, I applied to this position. Can you tell me where I'm at with that? Respectfully, no, we can't. We don't have access to those requisitions, but I know who can. You can, because when you apply to the position, you developed a portal that tells you where the application process is at. So make sure you're leveraging that, to which I'm sure you're going to say, well, I haven't heard from them in 2 or 3 days, whatever it may be. Keep in mind, the team is incredibly busy, potentially scheduling or getting interviews completed. So just know the most up-to-date information on your current applications is going to be found on your dashboard or in your profile. And then also, hey, I've done this before, I want to be in this location, or this is what I'm interested in. If you guys are not leveraging the filters on the careers page, it breaks down location, business units, education, everything. When you ask any given one recruiter, the likelihood of them knowing if there's something that exists specifically for that role, it's going to be slim. So please leverage our careers page. I will stress again, resume is the foundation. I would even make the argument sometimes, and TA, Taj, Carrie, feel free to shut me down on this, but I feel the resume in some cases is probably even more important than really the application, that the way that you complete it, because you can make an error in the application and we can fix it. But if your resume is not right and you're not qualified, we're not worrying about answering additional questions. So just my thoughts there. And then remember, all of this is in an effort just to make you dangerous. It's developing strategy in your career pursuits. It's not leaving things to chance, but rather being proactive and making sure all these things are going to help increase your chances of getting that interview. So with that said, if there are no other alibis, I would open any alibis. None.
Yeah, Ricky, let me jump in on one. Did we talk about the link that you're putting in to sign up to our military talent community? Did we take a moment to talk?
Yeah, do it.
So So everyone, I know Gary's been posting this, and I think Ricky posted it as well, but I want to tell you guys why it's important to join our military talent community. And even if you're not actively engaged in applying into roles, our recruiters and our sourcers are filtering through candidates that we've met through outlets like this that are looking for candidates, and you may be contacted for a potential position they find that you qualify for. And so this sits in our repository. So it's not just like you apply to that one job and that one recruiter sees you. This is all of our recruiters, all of our sourcers. And we've divided where it goes to all of our business units. So for all positions. So you're opening yourself up to a lot more eyes on your resume and your profile. And we break it down. We try to make it as close as possible that we can get. But it's just huge for you because now you sit into it saying, hey, I'm interested in RTX. I'd love to be a part of this team. And you're not just saying it on this job, you're saying it overall. So if you guys haven't signed up, I really want to encourage you to do that.
Thank you, John. Definitely. And the links have been posted. I'm sure we'll drop it a few more times. And if there is nothing else from our team, then we will open it up to chats, questions that haven't been addressed in the chat. We would love any type of engagement from you all. Did that presentation suck? Did it deliver? Let's talk.
I just want to come off, and Kate Wood here from 50 Strong. I cannot speak highly enough of how important it is for military talent, whether you are transitioning from active duty, whether you're a veteran that's pivoting companies or careers, a spouse, National Guard or Reserve. The information that Ricky and Gary and the entire team here at RTX are sharing is the most important information to listen to as a job seeker. You will encounter so much information on LinkedIn or talking to maybe fellow service members that are also job searching, but the information literally coming from the horse's mouth, from the employer's mouth, from the talent leaders, from the recruiters, from the hiring managers on what they value, how they want to see your resume, and what positions they are recruiting for. This is crucial, and we're just so grateful to your team, to the entire RTX team for being so transparent and honest and open here as we share information. So the gatekeepers are in the building, and they're literally opening the gate for you. They're showing you, giving you the key, right, to have a successful application process with their team. So I just wanted to say that as we kind of dive in here to question and answer. There were a lot of really great questions in the chat. I know Gary and Carrie and a lot of the team were answering those questions as we were live in the chat. So let's try to just do this in as much of, I guess, an organized manner as we can. As we get into some more questions here, I know that there were a lot of questions around clearances, and that as well. So maybe, Ricky or Gary, if it's helpful, just kind of maybe a basic overview about, active clearances, or maybe people that have an inactive clearance, how they should share that on the resume. What's your best pieces of advice? Just kind of overview on clearances real quick.
Let me dip my toe in that, and then Gary, we'll save the best for last, which is where you'll come in. So from a TA space, it's important, as Lori had already mentioned, right? If you have been in any way affiliated with any type of clearance, be that it's inactive, you had it once, or it is still current, that needs to be shared, because again, this is additional insight TA is going to be able to leverage in regards to their timeline on which candidate they're going to work with and how long it's going to take for them to be able to process them. The key is in the wording of the requisition, and I'll highlight this again. Gary had mentioned it. When you see any requisition, and there's a stigma, you have to be an engineer and you have to have a clearance to work for Raytheon. False. There are plenty of opportunities, but to be clear, if you see a requisition that says the ability to obtain, that is essentially telling you you do not need it. You just have to be able to be qualified in order to be able to obtain it, which we will go through that process. And then anything that needs an active clearance, meaning you better have it before you click that application button, that means it needs to be with you right now. Great examples are people who are service members who are transitioning out, and their secret, active, whatever, it's still there. So understand the difference between the two. For anybody that has an inactive clearance and you're like, hey, I'm military, let's see if they give me a shot, and you apply to a position that requires an active on day one, they're going to find out, because we have the ability to run through our database, or rather through the Department of Defense, if your clearance is still active and good to go. So just keep that in mind when considering applying. Gary, did you have anything to add to that?
No, you hit it all. Just make sure that it's on there. If you have, again, I know Lori said if you have a secret, we do have a lot of jobs that require secret. But if you have a TSSCI, we need you. There's a lot of programs where we need you. And then in the location specific, Collins has jobs that require security clearance. We have a lot of jobs that don't require security clearance. Same with Pratt and Whitney. I would say, Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say about 90 to 95% of the jobs there do not require security clearance or a secret at best. But a lot of the Raytheon jobs do. So it is specific on the different business units. But if you ever had a security clearance, make sure that is on your resume. And then somebody was asking, what if it's expired? Just put the last date that it was adjudicated or the last date that it was active.
Great information. You're hearing it here first, directly from their team. Just real quick, I see a lot of questions in the chat. Like, do you have this type of role in X area? Do you have jobs in X state, X city? The best thing for you to do is go on the careers page, the RTX careers page, and search by city and state. You are going to be able to find exactly what you are looking for, whether they have roles open in that area or not, and then the types of positions that they have as well. So I would have that be your first stop. If you do find something of interest or you have more questions about it, that's where we can kind of drill in and provide a little more information as well.
When you ask the site, oh, sorry, Kate, I just want to say, when you look to the site, you're getting up to the minute information. When you ask Ricky, you're asking, in this brain, do you know if something exists in Florida? And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. So that's why you want to leverage that careers page first before anything else. But sorry, go ahead, Kate.
No, that's it. Exactly. Recruiter, even a recruiter that is managing their desk of roles, right? It's constantly changing too. So that's really great information. Okay. We've had several questions in the chat and we've got a couple people that have their hands raised as well. So I'm going to take the ones with the hands raised because I see a lot of the RTX team is answering the questions kind of live in the chat, but don't worry if your question wasn't answered, we're going to definitely get to it. So first up for me is Lauren. You have a question. Feel free to come off mute and ask your question to the RTX team.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. Ricky, one, I want to say thank you for your energy. I think it's always refreshing to kind of just listen to you and how much you love kind of where you work and everything. It's definitely motivates people to want to join the RTX team. I think my first question is really looking at the mentor side of the house with 50 Strong. I don't see RTX. Maybe I've missed it. But is there an opportunity to kind of do those one-on-ones? Is that something we're growing towards, Kate? I feel like there's a smile and a conversation already with that one.
Did 50 Strong pay you for that, Lauren?
No, I sent her something before we got on the call.
That was good.
No, we are exploring that options. There's a lot of red tape with RTX. We have to cut through it, but it's definitely something we are pursuing. We try to engage as much as possible through these calls. And we definitely are looking at the mentorship platform.
Great. Love the question for many reasons, but definitely we appreciate everyone that's volunteering through 50 Strong Mentor, whether they're engaged with an employer or that's just someone from the community that's offering those time. That's a really great way to get some one-on-one insights as well. Keith, I'm going to go to you next.
Great. Thanks for taking my question. Thanks for all the great information and feedback today. My question is about SkillBridge program. So on the careers website for RTX there's only a very limited number of SkillBridge opportunities listed there and only in a few locations. Do you open that SkillBridge up to any of the other careers that are out there or the remote positions that are offered?
Yeah, I'll take this one, Ricky, and if you want to tap in with anything. So we are growing it. It's a centralized program. With us being a defense contractor, we have a lot of compliance that we have to go through. Again, back to the red tape. And there's certain programs that, the government is a huge customer of ours. And so we can't have you in a charging position while you are in a skill bridge and be able to charge back that time to the government. So there are certain programs that work better in a support role where I'm teaching you, where I'm, exposing you to this side of the business, rather than, hey, I'm going to put you in charge of running this entire assembly line or running quality controls for an entire production line. There's just certain positions that we can't put in there. But what I will tell you is if you can't find a position, again, careers.rtx.com/skillbridge, I'll drop that here in the chat. I can't multitask, but I'll drop that in the chat. If you can't find a job there, but you can find a job on the careers site and you are checking the basic qualifications and you are checking the preferred qualifications, and Keith is just going to be the best absolute candidate, what I will tell you is apply. You're going to get screened, and then TA is going to reach out to you and say, hey, Keith, I'm interested. Talk to us about this. what's your availability? And you're going to say, well, I'm getting out of the Air Force, Army, I'm getting out of the military in March of 2027. I'm eligible for 60 days, 90 days, whatever, you're able to be supporting your commander. They might say, hey, I can't do that on this position. I've got to fill this role right now. But they also might say, I'm going to take your resume and I'm going to, hand that off to the vets team, or I'm going to hand that over to my team. And if we need anybody else in Q3 or Q4, then maybe we host you, come December, January timeframe, you transition from the military and we hire you in Q3 of 20 or Q2 of 27. So shoot your shot. Usually I tell people don't shoot their shot when it's not an obtainable one, but if there's not a SkillBridge opportunity for you, post it on our SkillBridge page. But there is a career opportunity posted that you are a great quality candidate for. Shoot your shot. If you are selected in that top screening by the recruiter, and Taj has done this. I know he supported roles where somebody applied for like a technician, but they couldn't start for 8 months. Well, he's like, hey, Gary, this person's SkillBridge. Let's open up an opportunity. So we have hiring managers that know about SkillBridge or that will learn about SkillBridge. I just can't guarantee it. Sometimes there's red tape that we can't cut through, and we just can't put a SkillBridge person on until they're off of transitional leave, terminal leave, house hunting leave, all of that stuff. They have to be completely out of the military to be on certain programs.
Okay. Yep. That answered my question. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Such crucial information from Gary there, especially when it comes to the SkillBridge program and defense contractors. There, those red tapes and those pieces. It's really important to understand, Gary. Your transparency is so appreciated. So crucial, so appreciated. Okay, next up we have Antonio.
Hi, good afternoon, and again, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I'm currently in a TA internship, so I'm kind of in the phase of like looking for full-time roles. And then before my question, I served as an HR officer for an air defense brigade, so I have a huge appreciation for Patriot and CRAM and all the work you guys do. I may have missed it because I had to hop off for a second for my role, but when it comes to like titles and resumes in terms of like duty titles, how do y'all feel about like translating them into like more civilian speak? So example, instead of saying like brigade human resources officer or brigade this, putting like senior human resources business partner, like kind of what's your thought process on that?
I'll let somebody else chime in and then I'll tell you the advice that I got when I was transitioning.
Let's get TA on this one.
I would say make it broad. You want to be able to resonate with many different positions, and RTX speak may be different in the private sector. So I would use general terminology, and you can always be more specific in the body of your resume, but I would keep titles pretty generic.
Yeah, so the advice that I got, again, 5 years ago on a call similar to this, when I was a flight chief or enlisted accessions recruiter and all of that stuff, is take your resume and give it to your grandma that has no affiliation with the military. Give it to your neighbor, your pastor, your friend that is not associated with the military, and have them look at it. And if they don't know what the heck they're reading, then you need to rewrite it, because we are a military friendly and we love our veterans, and there's a lot of veterans that work here, but there's a lot of non-veterans, and there's a lot of people that are not military associated or affiliated that have no idea what a staff sergeant is, or a platoon leader, or NCOIC, or any of that stuff. So you just want to make sure that you are managing and leading X amount of people. This was the budget you were working on, things like that. Have mom, dad, friends, spouses, have them look at it. Have your friends that you're working at an internship right now with TA, have your fellow TA look at it. And if they don't know what you're talking about, then you need to rewrite it. Utilize the AI tools that we talked about. Don't shortchange yourself though. Don't sanitize it from all your veteran stuff. You want to make sure that you do have your military experience on there, because companies like RTX and many others do appreciate your service, and we do want to hire veterans. We have certain targets that we want to engage with veterans. But we just want to make sure that we knew what you did while you were a veteran, not just that you were a veteran.
No, I appreciate that. And I'm actually I'm a big proponent of like, it's okay to be hyperbolic when you're writing a resume, because like sometimes as officers, there are things that other people did that like you have to put that I in front of it instead of a we. I think my biggest thing is like, I never want to overshoot the title. And I think that's my biggest thing is like some duty positions in the military, you try to translate it to the private sector, you may kind of overshoot what you actually did. And that's kind of my biggest fear, I guess. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it's a valid fear. We see it every day. Jamie and I used to work together back at Collins, and we were on mission systems, and we would have, E4s submit that they were, the ops lead or the regional ops manager. We would have colonels say they were a CEO, C-suite. At the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you're capturing what you do, what your responsibilities and what your scope is. And then you want to get on LinkedIn, you want to get your mentors and find out, hey, what does this translate to? Because no job in the military, other than maybe Pete Hegseth or something at the Pentagon, is going to translate over to a C-level suite. But we literally had somebody apply. I think it was for a level 4, level 5 job, mid-level management, senior manager, and they said their current role was a C-suite. And it's just like, why are you applying for a management role if you were a C-suite? So you don't want to make yourself kind of look bad.
And just to kind of compound what Gary said, make sure you're using the numbers, right? If you led, 100 people, right, that you led 100 people on your resume. If you managed a certain budget, make sure you write that on there. That's what we look for.
Great question, Antonio. Thank you.
Yep, and you've seen in the chat, and I think anyone that was humble and honest when we transitioned from the military probably had those exact same questions, right? So it's not a unique thing, or you shouldn't, it's something we all go through when we transition out of the military. It's just, how do I talk about what I've done? It's a challenge, right? Even in an organization that is very familiar and works on programs and capabilities that are directly fed back into defense and into the military. I think a lot of the comments from Jamie and some of the other leaders in the TA team, assume that no one knows what you've done, right? And just being able to really clearly and explicitly state it is great. So I put it in the chat. We have about 10 more minutes with the RTX team here. Definitely want to take advantage of the huge breadth of experience that we have across this team. Gary, while I'm taking these last couple of questions, I want to make sure we share your join the military community through RTX, any of those other links, just to make sure everyone has them, but we definitely still have time for about 10 more minutes of questions. So if you've got a burning question, no question too big or too small, definitely put it in the chat or raise your hand and we will get to that. We're going to try to wrap things up at around 25 past the hour. So definitely time for a few more questions. Okay. John, I see your hand raised. We will go to you next.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for doing this. Super helpful. I guess I did want to get a little bit of clarification. So I'm personally actively in a job search. Raytheon is one of the places I'd really like to land for, first of all, what you guys do, but also largely I live in Andover, Mass. So it'd be very nice. So what I've tried to do is kind of what I've done so far, this is what I've done so far, is I've got on the website, I've looked for jobs that I think I'm a good fit for. I have a good friend who works there. He and I have looked at jobs and he's even kind of sent me jobs. Hey, this is a good fit for you. I take the time to do the resume, adjust the resume. He puts in an internal referral. So I've applied to a couple internal referral jobs. And again, these are roles that based on my experience, were recommended to me. And then for all of them, I haven't gotten an interview. One of them was, it was like rejected within like record speed, which was like almost like impressive a little bit. But it also like conflicts a little bit with what I've been doing versus what you guys are saying now. So what I'm curious about is the speed in which I submit these applications more important than having a well thought out like discussion with somebody who already works there, getting it tailored to be like perfect for this, this role and hitting all the keywords and everything, and getting an internal referral. So part of this question is how important are those internal referrals? Are they not important at all? Is it worth waiting for one versus just getting this thing like fired? Ricky was saying like being one of the first 5 people to get the application in, if you're taking the time to adjust and kind of tailor these resumes to put your best foot forward and then to get an internal referral, like that takes time. So I guess I'm curious, like, what do you recommend? Do you recommend just getting it in as fast as possible? Do you recommend trying to get an internal referral? How important is that? And that's all I'm just curious what you guys think.
let me jump this one, and then if any of my TA partners wanna put the cherry on top, I'm going to say speed, and here's why. With speed, at least you're getting a notification, you're getting some type of feedback from the applicant tracking system or Workday that you were at least reviewed and considered. Now, again, it's walking a fine line, right? Like you need to be qualified. This is why it's important that you're not only researching those careers, but you're having those tailored resumes saved and put away. My recommendation for any position you ever apply to with Raytheon or RTX, you need to save that resume according to that job title, because if it's showed up once, it's going to more than likely show up again, and then you have that resume ready to go. Now, to the opposite side, John, if you decide, let me wait, let me get it tailored, let me get my referral, that's going to increase, I guess, your quality, but none of that matters if you're candidate 262. They're never going to get to you. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm going to put my vote towards speed, but more specifically than speed is in the preparation of whatever you're looking at. Make sure that resume is ready to go and get those notifications set up for that role. That way you're able to apply and you don't have to worry about tailoring your resume. I'm also going to share, and I hope I don't get in trouble with my team on this one, the referral piece. You being military and referral, it's not driving your candidacy any higher up on the priority list. If you're not familiar, Raytheon reviews candidates in the order that they apply to ensure that we're being fair and compliant, and that's how it's done. The referrals can help in the sense of maybe you've been interviewed and now you have somebody who has a referral and somebody that doesn't, and maybe that helps push you over the offer stage, but you having a referral doesn't take you from candidate 0 to candidate 1. Did that address everything you mentioned?
That's very helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
And Ricky, I think you hit everything absolutely perfect. The perfect situation is if you have a friend or a mentor or something like that in there that really, really wants you to work for the business and is out there hunting for jobs and referring you the day they come out. Or if you see a job and you say, hey, friend, mentor, coach, what old teammate, I need a referral. It takes 30 seconds for me to do a referral. I don't do referrals as a TA person, but it takes an RTX employee about 30 seconds to do a referral. So reach out to your connections within the business, say, I need you to do this now, and then do it that night.
And Gary, it also helps whoever your referrer is can see your status, can see the candidate status on that. So another piece of advice is also to make sure you sign up for any job notifications. So you're the first to know. The sooner you're in that requisition, the more attention you're going to get from the recruiter.
But don't wait. If your friend's out of town for 2 weeks or deployed or something, don't wait on a referral. Get that application in the first, try to get it in the first 3 days. Especially like he said, if it's a remote role, if you want to be in Andover, that's good. But if it's a remote role, do not wait for a referral. I've seen 1,000 people apply for a remote role.
And to Rochelle's question, since we're talking on the referral process, that's not a dumb question. Yes, you have to ask for a referral because RTX employees have to create the email and the link that would be emailed to you, and you have to leverage that link when applying. If you go in to the RTX Careers page and you apply and it gives you the ability to say referral, I don't think it works that way.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so Rochelle, I think just to clarify that question that you asked, if you have a mentor, a friend, somebody that works at RTX or something like that you have worked for, then we have employee referrals, A, to get you in the door, B, sometimes we're looking for unicorns, somebody that's got, cyber degrees and security clearances and things like that. And sometimes we offer, incentives for our employees to go out there and find and encourage their friends and peers and network to apply. And so sometimes there's an incentive for your referring person to get you in the door and to get you hired. But you don't have to ask for a referral for anybody on this call. Nobody needs a referral to apply.
Great insights. Oh, this is great. I love all the interaction in the chat and live here. And all of these questions that the job seekers are bringing today are really thought out, informative. Like they said, there's no silly question. There's no small questions, right? We've all been different places in our job search. So this is really great to hear. We have about 3 minutes left before our 50 strong team wraps up here. And we want to share some information at the end too. So definitely please stay on with us. But from the RTX team, any lasting pieces of information? Is there anything that maybe came up in the chat that you want to share out broadly across the call here today? Definitely want to make sure that you get any of your lasting information before we wrap things up here.
If I can just do a quick 30-second, when I was thinking about this presentation, I wanted to make sure that the intent was to ensure that we're making you guys dangerous in the employment pursuit process. There is nothing about what we've shared with you that is definitive. And what I mean by that is, in regards to the market and how candidates are being screened, all of this is strategy that's going to increase your percentages on ultimately being seen by TA hiring managers and hopefully getting that interview stage. So remember, it's about being proactive and not reactive. And I'm hoping that you've taken some type of gold nugget away from this when it comes to your future pursuits. So that's all that I had.
Yeah, and just kind of on a personal and professional level, what I would say is there's 91 people on this call. And if 91 people went to careers.rtx.com and applied, I can't hire all of you. There's only so many jobs and so many skill sets that we can hire right now. But, we have all transitioned, or everybody on this call is transitioning, and it's stressful. I went through it. John went through it. Ricky, is in the reserves and has dealt with it. Many of us have dealt with the transition stress. It's not easy. If it was easy, we wouldn't have all the resources that are out there. But what I would tell you is just be resilient. There is eventually going to be an opportunity for you at RTX. If you have the qualifications, if you persevere through, the denials, it sucks. I got denied a couple of times for a couple of opportunities. Once at Raytheon and once at Raytheon used to have two different businesses, but I didn't get my offer for my skill bridge until the third interview. And so you just have to be resilient. Take that feedback, take any feedback that you can get in an interview or a screening process and try to adapt it. That doesn't mean you have to change who you are, but just listen to what people are telling you. And if enough people tell you the same thing, they're probably right, and you're probably not viewing yourself or your resume in the right manner. Just be open to feedback and open to guidance, and always take the open door. If there's an open door to connect to somebody, it might lead to a job in 6 months, 12 months, 2, 3, 4 years. So just try to stay positive, roll with the punches the best you can, and definitely continue to explore the opportunities at RTX today and tomorrow. With that, I guess we'll kick it back over to boss. Sophia, do you have any closing remarks for us?
I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today and just asking your questions. We're very excited that you had an opportunity to connect with our team members from across the businesses. And we encourage you to go to the RTX Careers page and see if there's anything there that aligns with your skill sets and where you want to be. So thank you, guys.
Love it. Thank you so much, Ricky, Gary, Sophia, the entire RTX team that joined us here today. We have just a couple final pieces here from the 50 Strong team. So definitely just stick with us for the last few minutes here as we provide some information. First one of those being, there's a lot of really good information in the chat today. I'm sure a lot of you were feverishly copying and pasting into some sort of a document or a OneNote or something to keep information. There's a very simple way to save the chat. If you look in the top right corner of the chat component, there will be 3 dots. You can click that and then you can click Save Chat. If you're on a mobile or maybe on a different version of Zoom, this might not be available to you, but for the majority of people, this is a great way that you can save the chat, just so you don't feel like you have to be copying and pasting as we go here today. So first of all, if you enjoyed what happened here today, if you enjoyed engaging directly with employers, hearing from them directly about their hiring processes and getting kind of a behind the curtain look on who they are and their pathways and their programs, please come back and join us again at another 50 Strong Meetup. We have a featured meetup with United Health Group happening on the 10th of June. And then on June 25th, we host our very large networking meetup where RTX and about 20 other employers will be joining us to do a very similar conversation where you're able to speak directly to military hiring teams, recruiters, and hiring managers as well. So definitely check out the link in the comments or check the QR code out to RSVP for those upcoming meetups. Also, I just want to remind you about our 50 Strong Marketplace. We have almost 100,000 roles that are shared here by employers like RTX, as well as many others. You can search at the city and the state level, and then you can also search by different pathway or program, anything from skill bridge, military affiliated student roles, apprenticeships, military spouse fellowships or military spouse roles, and then of course, direct hire opportunities as well. So please take advantage of that. It's a kind of a one-stop shop for you to look for jobs and openings across many different employers. 50 Strong Mentor. So if you didn't kind of surmise enough, this is a great way to get some more one-on-one interaction. If you have specific questions about tailoring resumes, about preparing for interviews, if you have specific questions around day in the life of certain types of roles, or you just want to network with leaders across different industries, please sign up for 50 Strong Mentor. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up your profile. It's all done through LinkedIn single sign-on. We have conducted over 1,500 conversations through this mentorship platform, and there's about 200 companies that are represented based on all of the mentors that are on the platform to date. Please take advantage of it. Even if you book your first call with me, just as kind of an icebreaker, just to figure out a place to start, I'm very open to doing that. We feel like this is a great way to help your job search as well. All right, next steps. The team at RTX has specifically shared how they want you to follow up, okay? They have shared their military careers page, their SkillBridge careers page, joining their military talent community, and several other things that they have suggested for you to specifically do. Please listen to what they're telling you and follow these steps. Join their talent community. Apply for the roles in the way Ricky and Gary and their team shared. Be a proactive job seeker and take the next steps that you need to have a successful job search. Absolutely connect with their team on LinkedIn, send a personalized DM. Those things are great, but they are probably getting connection requests from all 100+ people that registered and attended this event today. So give them some grace in hearing back from you. Again, they're eager to connect, but just give them some grace aside from hearing back from you, but follow the next steps that they gave you in terms of engaging. We're also going to share in the chat the 50 Strong team's LinkedIn's. We love connecting with you as well. We also love hearing about your experience. So if you enjoyed what happened here today, we would strongly suggest, or I guess we would love, if you could share more about your experience across LinkedIn or any of the social channels where you might post. Tell us maybe some really great information that you came away with today. Call out some of the amazing RTX team that was here and shared some awesome insights. We'd love to see you posting and just sharing out, so maybe your connections or others within your community can hear more about RTX being an employer choice for military talent. All right, with that, I just want to say a huge thank you to Gary and Ricky and Sophia and Carrie and John and Jamie and the entire RTX team. It was incredible. The information you shared was unmatched, and we're grateful to be able to walk alongside you in getting information directly to military talent. Ricky, I'm going to pass it back over to you for any last minute thoughts before we wrap.
Yeah, so that was it. Again, final thank you. Very, very grateful for being able to share in this time with you all, hoping that you found it meaningful, hopeful that you were able to take at least one thing away in some point of this presentation. We're grateful for your service. Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you to 50 Strong, the platform that you guys are creating to make this happen. You guys don't know what kind of waves it's making, but I know out here in Tucson, it's definitely going down, and clearly we see it in the chat. So thank everybody. Thank you guys, and I hope you have a safe and a very blessed weekend.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.